recording to the cloud is by far a better way to do it. So that's what we're going to do. When I got home, I pulled, there were 11 commits. Okay. I don't know where your last commit was. We can go back and take a look at that. I played with a couple things, just checking things out, nothing unusual. So I'm going to discard these. We can go back in. I
Yeah,
mean, it
so I
looks like
rolled it.
well, hang
Rolled
on.
it. Go ahead.
First thing, relax. Okay. Because what I saw was, you did this initial put, you're pushing, fix the Angular import error. And then somehow you closed the pull request and then merged the main branch in, which seems like an odd order to do things, but
Yeah, I think it misordered it.
that's fine. But what we can do is, and this is one of the nice parts of the online GUI tools, is we can look at the history and we can see what was done as we look at this. So here's the merge of the main branch. We can see exactly what happened. So it changed to karma. In this case, it was adding that. So this is the actual merge in. So if it broke between here and here, we can see what happened and what might have been missed. So it looks like browser module got moved, HTTP client was brought in. So that will need fixed. It's a little out of order. Browser module, it's real particular about where that goes sometimes. Okay. So we'll take a peek at that. You got the endpoints came in. Looks like an upgrade to the test on the API. So that should have been normal stuff there.
I think what happened is over here you can see where the merge conflict was fixed.
So you actually needed both sets of code.
Yeah.
And you probably just took one, which dropped yours. So we'll copy that because we know we're going to need that. And that goes into the home component. So let's copy that. So far, I haven't seen anything too out of whack. So let's take these one step at a time. So we'll leave that copied. But I did notice, like I said, the app module, there's something out of order there. So let's go take a quick peek at that. We'll just take it one step at a time through that, and then we can push that branch back up. And yeah, some of these things, it gets really particular about order. So we're going to cut those and put those up there. That should be good, but let's put the app routing before the HTTP. It might glitch on that, but I have it running right now so we can see if it's working or not. But let's get through our code first. Not what I wanted to do. And let's come down to this home component because we know we dropped that on the home component. And it doesn't matter which order they're in yet. Okay, we have a list of grades from the data file from the data load. We won't need that till later on, so we probably could actually take that out.
That was the unordered list that was just clickable, and that's how I realized I messed up with the merge.
Exactly, yes. So my guess is grade level is going to go there.
Yep.
Okay. And then we'll check the CSS. I don't see anything unusual there. I want to double check these files manually. It's got the HTTP client testing module brought in. And I want to look at your test too. What you did was okay. In fact, it's great. That's React type testing, but not Angular. So what I was looking for was quite a bit simpler. So we'll talk through that real quick. And then home component, it looks like, okay, so you brought in that was mine bringing in the home
that was yours.
That's the merge in of my code. And that all looks good. And then the helper spec and the update to the test file. Okay, so assuming that's all right, let's take a quick run through everything and then we'll kind of step into it real quick. So we have constants, make sure that's all still there. Yep. And right down to the adult keys, college keys, high school fixes you and I did later on, right? Grade detail interface. Yep. We didn't change anything in services. HTML here looks good. I tend to prefer, and I may have just given you this out of order. tend to refer the kind of action pieces together, right? As opposed to these are all static attributes, right? That's
Okay.
nothing unusual. And I may have given it to you that way. I'm going to close these things out. We're going to find out if it's all working here in a few seconds. There we go. And then I did notice, yeah, you got some weird indenting things going on there. There and there. And my default spacing, and this is probably just me, we haven't set up anything yet, but I tend to prefer 2 space indents. Front end code tends to get further across than back end code does at times. So I tend to like to use 2 spaces. It's readable and it doesn't do that really ugly nesting.
I both turned off my prettier and I only use tabs.
So this test is near perfect. I'm not quite sure what the question is about breaking because what I've got is it's grayed out. It means you're not using it anywhere. Okay. You don't have a need. You're already importing it in the main file here and using it. So unless you're going to check that this is the same as the imported file, which doesn't make sense because it's already the imported file, you really don't have a need for that.
Yep, I just saw it was grayed out and I didn't remember bringing it in myself. So
grayed out
wanted to make a note of it.
It means is not used.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this test that you did is a component level test. It's actually more, in my mind, it's closer to an integration test. You're testing the function live to see that it changed. And that's great. It's the kind of testing that probably should be in place in most applications and isn't. But the reality is for most Angular tests, I'll do something like this. You've got this select grade level, right? All we really need to test, and I'm going to leave yours in there, and it's a good test. I'm not going to say it's a bad test. Okay, expect, and we might change your language of it. Select grade level to set the selected key. And so to do that, we need to pass the key, right? We know it's a string. We can see it on the function over there. Doesn't matter what it is. And then we call the function. So it's component select grade level key. And then we check. So we expect component selected to equal key. Oops. The most I ever expect on most projects, and realize enterprise level, you don't quite often don't get into the same depth. Okay. Your test is probably more appropriate in the long run. Okay, GUI level. And you did actually everything I would expect. So the only thing I would clear up is, so here you grab the button, that's part of your setup. You click the button, that's your actual action. Okay. The fixture detect change detects the click, and then you expect the button class to contain selected. Yeah. Except all this is testing at this point is that a button contains selected.
Just a single button, not all buttons.
Well, I think what you're doing is you're grabbing all buttons.
Yeah.
So the button click is triggering on them, and you're just checking that one of them contains.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was appropriate for what we were trying to do all buttons or not. I could have been more specific.
That appropriately, we'd almost need an ID, which for proper testing, you probably should have an ID anyway. So what if the ID was the key? So if we do something like that, then our test here, your query selector can search for one of the keys. It doesn't matter which one it is. So we just have to know what our constant keys are. So let's say we tested on the third grade. So it's going to be, and yeah, oh, actually, I think what you did was you grabbed the first button in your selection. So you use query selector. So this will actually grab the third grade button. And so what you're actually checking is the third grade button only. What I want to check to be sure is, actually, we could test it right here. So let's say, did you put the dark mode in?
I did.
Okay, it's a little bit brutal, but we'll take a peek at that too. No, it's good. All right,
it was just for ease of working.
So let's take a look at this third grade, because that's one we're testing with. And if we look at our button, does it have? Yeah, it has an ID third grade now that we can grab. And you can, one of the cool things we can do is store this as a global variable, so we don't have to do the kind of query selector kind of stuff. But what I want to actually do is run the query selector. So let's come over to the console and we'll say button equals document. And this is essentially going to do it the same way, but I want to check that query selector. Query selector, I want to make sure it gets one element. Third grade. Not a valid selector. So I wonder if we can't do the ID that way because of the number.
I do not know.
Could be the number, could be the hyphen, could be a number of things in there. So let's change it. Let's come in here manually and change it and see if that's what's going on. And let's rename this. Edit this HTML. We need wherever the ID is hiding. Wow, that just buried us all over the place, didn't it? There it is. I'm going to make it third grade like that. Oop. I don't want to do that. There we go. I'm going to click outside it. And now we've changed the ID manually so that in the console we can test to see if that's what's going on. Okay, so it either doesn't like the 3 or the hyphen. I'm not sure which at this point. But I also want to see what is included in buttons. So it is only getting the one button. It's not getting an array of. But I also don't know if the valid was the, let's see, let's edit that attribute and try, because we can fix that. It's not hard to fix. Well, let's try something else. Edit. I did that again.
Honestly, I'm just happy I put the test in the right place.
Well, what I want to do is, if it's the 3, is it that it starts with a 3? Right?
Yeah.
So we can always tack an ID on since we have the ability to change that. No, I think what you did is great. Your merge was a little funky, but we got there. So let's say, so we need to go up. Yeah, there we go. That one. And we can't reuse button, but we can do ID 3RB hyphen G, but we also have to make this a new one since we used a const here. That works. So we just have to put an ID before it. And so it got the right button. Okay. So what that means then is in our code, instead of doing, we're going to change this to an ID dash. Save that there. That shouldn't restart it. We do need to look at our HTML. So ID can't start with a key. And think of this like a little console, right? We're actually writing JavaScript code because of that square bracket. it's square bracket or round bracket. Whatever goes inside the quotes is executable JavaScript. Okay. So if we want to prefix this with ID dash, does the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
We already know that level key is a string. So it'll put those together and create that ID for us. That then becomes testable. So if we come out here, take a quick peek, make sure we'll inspect. And so ID third grade, just like we expect. So now in our code in the tests, we've set that to a specific ID third grade. So we know specifically which button we're testing. There's no doubt. I think your button you did before was probably going to grab the first one, but there's no guarantee. Okay, it clicked. It should check that selected is available on that list. I think everything you did there is dead on what I would expect for a component level, DOM level test. Way more than I expected. Okay.
Don't talk me up too much. It was a robot.
That's okay. You got there. Okay?
Yeah, just practicing the syntax and trying to figure stuff out is what I'm doing.
But the reality is, this is what I would ask for.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I knew immediately it was overcomplicated, and I was kind of worried it wouldn't work, but it did work, so I figured I'd try it out.
It did work. I don't think it's specific enough.
Okay.
As you get more elements and that kind of stuff, things start to get wonky if you're not careful. But this gives us a way to cleanly be able to grab those elements. So from an integration or an end-to-end level, now we have IDs on those elements that we didn't before that are usable. Okay. So now we know it runs. And I get there we go. Get that to stop. And let's do an ng test, run that real quick, and then just double click real quick a couple of things, make sure things are right. So we still have the header looking exactly the same. We do have grade level in here, which shouldn't change the specs there. I wanted to look real quick at your parent level CSS, and yeah, let's back that up and change that to 2. Go, indent. And the only problem I have is pure black is brutal.
Oh yeah, I just use it because I'm on an OLED display and it saves battery.
But if we did like,
and also all of the CSS is not permanent. None of it is going to be the actual colors we're using.
Trying to get the 444 is probably a little high. And why is this not changing when I'm not spun up anymore. The ng tests pass. We need to reserve it so we can look at the changes. 444 is probably really high. Let's just try 111. Save that so that as it builds.
Yeah, I definitely didn't want you to think that I'm trying to design anything right now. I'm just trying to make everything work.
No, I think what
I'm an engineer, not a designer.
Nearly dead on what I would expect. Okay. So 128 is halfway in between black and white. 256 would be white. 0 is black, right? So if we take that up a little bit, let's say, if you look at the hex table 16, so 8, 12, ABC, let's try, I'll get that just a little bit lighter because that's kind of dark, and really even when we lighten the dark up, that's going to impact. We compiled successfully. Let's make sure we're reconnected over here. It just reconnected, just saw the background change. So we just need that gray to be a little bit brighter. There we go. And then the only other thing I can see right away, seeing that running in there, is we need to do a margin bottom. We'll get padding around the edges and that stuff of the entire application eventually. But I can see that component's missing that on its wrapper. So we have a level wrapper. So if we come into our CSS and just
yeah, in my version, the clickable list, it was gone, so I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's, as you put things together, that's kind of the thing you see at times. And I'm not, level wrapper, not level. Perfect. Does that look good?
Huh?
Oh, did you change that to green? You had like an orangey reddish color earlier. I liked that. No, this is fine, but I like that other color. First thought. If we do that white out, do we want to do a white color?
Probably. Again, none of it was really specific to be colors. I just wanted to make sure it worked.
No, I get that. So I see your border. I would match that border. There. The only other thing is, notice how it jumps. That jump is probably because we don't have a border on it normally when it's not selected.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's see. We don't need the button there because it's still going to be grade level button. Kind of group these together. Oh, this is SCSS. So, I can show you how to make this look really nice. Grade level button. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to put the border in, but what I want to do here is I want to do 1 pixel solid transparent so that it has a border, but you don't see it. So it doesn't change the look other than everything's 1 pixel change. And the fun part is now we can say, well, if we say an and sign colon, colon, there we go. The and sign says, I want to do it hard up against this. Okay, if I put another class here without that and sign, the assumption is it's a space. Okay, the and sign means it's hard up against just like this is. So if I want to take that, let's say I grab all this and come in here and I go and sign remains and paste. That's the exact same thing as what we had down here. We just nested it.
Yeah.
Okay, since we have that dot selected and it's hard up against it, right? We're going to take this like this, cut it, bring it in, put the and sign in, and paste it. That's the exact same code, but to me, that's a lot easier to read, right?
Makes
Let's
more
make
sense.
sure that override of the border still works. That might be the only thing we'd have to fix. Perfect, and no jump. Just because of that 1 pixel transparent. Cool.
Yeah, I like it.
See how we clean those things up? Okay. I don't think there's anything else we have to check, is there? Let's go back over here real quick and make sure, because we ran through this entire set of changes when you merged in. We did a couple minor tweaks of your code to get it into the right condition, right? So we fixed the module. Clearly it works. We added the key, fixed the order here, adjusted the CSS, added the unit test, added that on to the DOM and the global coloration, got a quick adjustment. That sound right?
Yep.
All right, so adjustments and fix from merge main. So I'm going to go ahead and push that. I'm going to go ahead. I may not be able to review.
I could probably open that pull request back up unless you just want to do a new one.
We'll just do a new one. That's easy enough. I'm going to assign it to you. I'm not going to assign it to me. It probably won't let me review because technically it's my commit. Just one of those minor things. Functional food and unit tests. This. Did I spell that right?
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure. I can mix things up all over the place. We have unit tests. That's one you didn't check. We pulled the code and retested the changes. We'll redo that real quick one more time. No new bugs. New and existing unit tests passed locally. Dependent changes have been merged and published downstream modules. I'm going to assign this to your GUI mess. You have different names all over the place. I think that's what's getting me.
I have to have a separate name on Discord because I run the largest college football server in the world. So it's a big deal.
So, the other one I sometimes do is I'll do a screenshot. So let's do that real quick because I didn't add that in that time. I do like to have the screenshot. And of course, we need this right in here. I'm not liking that screenshot, but that's okay. It'll work.
Yeah, close enough.
Right. Yep. I'm dropping it on my desktop so that we can bring it in. I'm going to close that out. Close that out. Quick. I'm the other of the project. Okay. I want to edit this. And click there. Desktop screenshot. Open. Oh, and I put it right up at the top. What a horrible place to put it at. That was where my cursor was. Way down to the bottom. Update.
I know with Windows, you can just hold those screenshots on your clipboard like it's text, like you control copy it. I don't know if it's the same with.
I think you can here too, but I've been doing this for so long, I don't think about it anymore.
Fair enough. I was so excited. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was so excited to have my work go through the pipeline and actually pass everything earlier.
So we know it's running. I want to try just run a git merge main, and it should tell me it's already up to date. That's good. What I did was I pulled before I ran this just to make sure there isn't anything else hiding out there. And then one final run of the tests, and then we'll assign everybody, assuming the tests still pass. I've just kind of learned to run one final run through of all that stuff. I'm amazed how often I have some little one-liner that sneaks in that breaks everything. Okay, so we have 10 successful tests. That's good. And then we can add everybody else. I don't know if I can even add myself, but we'll check to see if I'm even able to approve, because I will approve. If not, I'll make a comment in that direction. Okay, so let's go into the file changes. And no, I cannot approve because I opened the pull request. That's okay. And which is weird because we said over here that you own it. Well, technically you're assigned to it. Yeah, so because I opened it, I can't review it, and you can't review it because you're assigned to it. We'll wait for 2. No big deal. I'll throw a comment in here. I can't view since I assisted and reopened. PR, but
just wanted to double check. Nope, I cannot do it either.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I can force it if we really wanted to, but we're not going to force it.
I'm sure there are people pretty excited to approve it.
Review. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you get stuck like that. Just reach out. We'll do this again if need be. Git is its own little bear. You get really good at that. I mean, those people are rare. Okay. I'm okay at it.
I got close with it. I had ended up with a detached head, so I was kind of stuck at where to go next. But I had everything fixed pretty much besides the stuff that you wanted to clean up. So I was close.
No, I think you're really good. In fact, I don't care where you got the unit test from. That's a good unit test. Okay. It's actually above and beyond what I normally would look for with this type of a project. And that is one of the advantages of some of these new toolings like the Chat GPT. One of the few things I saw regularly out of it was a good base of tests. The trick is you have to then understand exactly what it's doing. It made me nervous just pulling a button, knowing that we have a dozen buttons on there.
It helps me to get exposed to things that I'm not used to, though, and that's what I like it for.
Yeah, exactly. That test probably could be expanded in that maybe we've made an array of all the buttons. As we can get the IDs, we could import that file, create all the IDs, and then you loop through and verify that the right one was assigned to selected and the other ones weren't. So
Yeah.
if you looped over those and captured the does it have it or not, so true or false, then you'd have this array and the correct place should have true. And maybe you click a couple of buttons to run that test a couple of times to verify that here it does and here it doesn't and here it does. And it should be really stable. So it could be made better, but again, it's way beyond what I had asked for.
Yeah, my first test implemented ever, so I'm all right with it.
No, that's good. It really was. It's good. It's a passing test. I want to make sure you understood what it was doing.
Yeah.
And we'll probably go over this code again tomorrow morning.
Yeah, in a few hours.
12 hours or so, yeah. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
All right, I think your code's ready to merge. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Excellent, man. I'll see you in the morning.
Good work. All right, catch you later.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Bye.